Well, good morning, lady and gentlemen. How are you doing this morning? Are you okay? Are you okay? Okay, you don't sound okay. You look like you are grieving or you are mourning. Okay, welcome to Study Unit 10, Greek 112. I must ask, how was the test yesterday? That is the easiest of the tests you will ever get. That is the easiest of the tests you will ever get. The last three. The last three of the vocabulary, I took them from the LXX and the New Testament sentences vocabulary. Yes. Entole, I think it's one of them. Apen, it's one of them. Sabaton means Sabbath. Okay? That's how stupid it is. Yes. Sabaton means Sabbath. Apen means he said, or it is, or it said, or she said. Why did I choose that? I think I also choose noon also. It means now. Okay? Now, yes. And then Apen, he said, Sabaton, Sabbath, Entole, commandments. You go to page 40. You have all of them there. Page 40. You see Apen is there, said. It's like a third person singular. Aorist, he said. And then Entole, it might be in lesson, no. This is lesson 7, sorry. We were writing 5 and 6, no? But then you still get Apen in page 33. It's there. It's commonly used in Greek. In page 33, you have Apen. And then I guess Entole is also here. Let's check. It might be in lesson 6. Lesson 5, sorry. In page 26, Entole, there you have it, commandments. Okay? And then Sabaton, also, you should get it in lesson 6. Yes, page 33, there you have Sabaton. You also, just on top of Sabaton, above Sabaton, you have noon. 10 words above it, you have noon. It means now. And yeah. What else did I give you? So actually 98% of the vocabulary was from the beginning of the lesson, and only 2% was from the LXX and the New Testament. And that's how I will do it. Come next time we write the test. And maybe say 80% from the beginning and 20% from the LXX. But then generally, what does it mean? What does it say? You must study all of them. Okay? You must study all of them. Okay, good. So I'm busy marking the test. Hopefully, I will hand it back to you by tomorrow or Friday. Okay, and see how you work. Then remember, next week, Tuesday, same place, same time, lesson 7 and 8. That is the test. And remember my assignment by this Friday. So now it's all work. It's no more Easter holiday. Okay, good. There's no more holiday anymore. We really have to get down on this. Study Unit 10, Lesson 9. I'm introducing you to the present. We are still dealing with the present. Remember, in Lesson 2, we dealt with the indicative. Oh, there's something... there's some kind of confusion here. Please scrap that out. It's not what we are doing now. We are dealing with the present, middle, or passive indicative. It's not active. Something cannot be middle and passive and active at the same time. Okay? just a typing error, okay? I'm introducing you to the present, middle, or passive indicative. Why do I say middle stroke passive? The forms, how the Greek words looks like is the same. They share the same forms, okay? So that's why we don't have to prolong in, say, dealing with the middle and then we're dealing with the passive. The form is the same, right? Let me just use my come on. And then all those, I will always remind you of them. That's what we managed to do so far in the semester. From the vowels, alphabets, and the present indicative active. Surprisingly, some of you cannot still conjugate luo in the present indicative active. You're telling me a lot of stories there. And now I'm introducing to you the present middle. I wonder how you're going to manage the present middle if you haven't even managed the present indicative active. So Greek will just become more of Greek to you. And please get to study this and know them. And today, that's where we are. We are busy with the present, middle, or passive form of a verb. Okay? I'm sorry for the Afrikaans translation there. Something went wrong. I think the sentence is not complete. But basically, ons is besig met les 9. Dit handel oor die presence passive of medium indicative. That is basically what I've left out there. The present, middle, passive, indicative. Now, what is this all about? The outcomes, it's all about recognizing and explaining. Recognize and explain. Basically, that's what you should be doing. I was busy with the Greek 113 class. They don't have to memorize all this and explain on their own. We have a nice program of Libronics and Logos and so forth, which can take care of all of that for you. But then at least you must be able to read, and you can't read something if there is no recognition of what is this and so forth. But then you will have to do that, recognize and explain the use of the medium and the passive in all its facets of Greek, and then recognize and explain the use of personal agent. I will tell you more about it, and then recognize and explain the use also of the impersonal dative of means, not mood, sorry, the impersonal dative of means. The means by which you perform something. Okay? Now, so basically those are the outcomes, what we are setting ourselves to achieve. And also the deponent verbs, I will tell you what is that. It's basically what we will be doing today. Now let's start with the so-called the voice, the grammatical voice, not your own voice. We're talking grammar now, we're talking language, all right? Voice is the characteristics of a verb, is a characteristic of a verb which indicates the relationship between the subject and the verbal action. The characteristic of a verb which indicates the relationship between the subject and the verbal action. I think there were some of you who came to my office and were talking about this, right? I will basically come to it. Oh my word, this is becoming a hassle today. I don't know why. Now, when we talk about the voice in grammar, we said we talk about the relationship between the subject and the verbal action. Basically, what we are talking about here is we have two voices. That is the active voice and the passive voice. What is the difference between the two? In the active voice, the subject performs the action. That is the active voice. I have an example. I'm just thinking of it now. The disciple is teaching in page 47. The disciple is, okay, someone will be helping me there with the Afrikaans. The active voice, the disciple is teaching. Who is the subject of the sentence? There. If we say, the disciple is teaching. Who is the subject performing an action in that thought flow, in that sentence? The disciple. Okay? So the disciple is your nominative. All right? You would say, ho mathetes. Ho mathetes didaske. The disciple is teaching. So your ho mathetes is performing an action. All right? So your nominative is performing what? An action. That's what I mean by active. But then in the passive voice, whereas in the passive voice, the subject is acted upon. Let's change that subject. The disciple is I hope that is correct. The disciple is being taught. Who is the subject of the sentence? Who is the subject? The disciple. The disciple is still the subject of the sentence, but then the voice have changed. It's no longer active anymore. It is passive. In the active, the subject performs the action. But then in the passive, the subject does nothing, but the action happens upon the subject. The subject is acted upon. Here, the disciple is doing nothing. Okay? But the action is happening upon him. He is being taught. The sentence can continue by the children or whatever. And that's what I mean by a personal agent. Only when you work with the passive forms, you will get the personal agent. I will come to that. I will still give you a good example. But then all I wanted to explain to you or to show to you is the difference between the active voice and the passive voice. The nominative subject remains the same. But then your verb will tell you whether the subject, your nominative, is performing an action or is the action performed upon your subject nominative. That is the difference between the active voice and the passive voice. Any question? This is a grade 10 stuff. This is the English back in the high school. Okay? In Afrikaans, they talk about the leidende forum and the beidrevende forum. You will remember that in your schooling days. This is very, very important also for our Greek. You have to know that. Okay? Now, if we can get some first years next year, and as a good second-year Greek student, and they come and ask you, what is the difference between the active voice and the passive voice? Will you be able to explain that to them? Say, for instance, there is a first-year student who just came. At least you have 4 months already here. They just came today. They are asking you, Sirami, what is the difference between the active and the passive voice? Would you explain that to them? There is a first year student in front of you. Teach them, tell them, what is the difference between the active and the passive voice?
The difference is the passive voice.
Start with the active.
The active, the subject in. Why is going on?
Now there's a first year student sitting before you. You are a senior student. Tell them. You know better. You have been in the university for a year or two now. There is the first year student sitting in front of you. Explain to them what is the difference between the active voice and the passive voice. You can't disappoint this first year student sitting in front of you. And you are doing the second year already. No, let him help. Let him help the first year student.
Okay. The active voice is when the subject performs an action.
Okay.
Then the passive voice is whereby the action. The subject is acted upon the
Okay.
action.
Good. Okay. So the subject is doing nothing, but is acted upon. Okay. So that's how you should help this first year student. And we will help a lot of them as we continue with this class today. Good. Now, these are the forms of the present, middle, and passive indicative. I'm still using the same word, lu'ua. There's some kind of freezing here going on. Yeah. Something will happen now, we'll correct it. Look at the middle form. We have been doing the present indicative active, where you got something like lu'uo. What did it mean? I loosen. Look at the ending there, omai. The ending changes. Lu, omai. You have it in the book there. You don't have to recopy these things. You have it in page 48. Lu, omai. The passive form will say, I am being loosened or destroy. You know, lu'uo can mean I loosen or destroy. Okay? Look at the difference. This one is active, but then I am being, and then look at that, destroyed or loosened. What am I doing according to this? I'm doing nothing, but the action happens upon me. I am being acted upon. The subject I, there, it's your omai. The subject uo, that your I. Here it is active and there it is passive. Now in the middle form, okay, the passive, you know what it means. You have been telling that first year guy. Now he knows. What about the middle? The middle has something of doing it for or yourself. I'm sorry there. I loosen myself. I'm helping myself. That is the middle form. Okay? It comes back to you. It's reflexive. You understand that? The passive, I am being loosened. The active, I loosen. Now we have three voices. We have the active voice, we have the passive voice, we have the middle voice. The active voice, the subject performs the action. I am teaching. It's active. I'm doing something. All right? Passive, I am being taught. The action happens upon me. The middle, I teach myself. Are you getting there? I teach myself. I'm just using this same sentence. I am teaching. I am being taught. I teach myself. Are you able to differentiate? what is active, what is passive, and what is middle. Okay, so the middle forms are, the middle and the passive forms look the same. There is no difference. It's all omai, lu omai, lu a, you are being loosened. I just wrote it in Afrikaans for the sake of African students, and they can see I just interchange it because of space and so forth. Lu etai, he or she or it loosens itself. Okay, in the middle. But then in the passive, he or she or it is being loosened. Okay, and also we are being destroyed. Okay, and then lu este, and then lu ontai. Hele word los gemaakt. They are being loosened. They are being loosened. The middle one will say, they loosen for themselves. For themselves, or loosen themselves. It all reflects back to them in the middle. But then in the passive, the action happens upon you. In the active, the subject performs the action. Any questions so far? So therefore, it's no longer lu uo, lu eis, lu ei, lu omen, lu ete, lu osin. You can see now the endings are changing as we move from, and this is still only the present, okay? We still have 5 more tenses to deal with. We still have the perfect, we still have the future in the primary tenses. Going to the secondary tenses, we still have the aorist, the imperfect, and the pluperfect. Okay? I will tell you something more when we go to lesson 9. That's where, lesson 10. That's where you will start to differentiate them, how they look like. They are very easy to differentiate. Each and every tense is unique. They will never confuse you with the other one. It's only the present passive and middle which are actually sharing the form. Only this. The rest will look different and they are unique. So you need not panic and they won't confuse you. You will manage to handle them well. Any questions so far?
How can we recognize it? It is middle passive. It means I loosen myself.
Mm-hmm. How will you know in the context?
Yes.
There will be something where you will see when we deal with the sentences. The middle form, it's not so common. You can read the notes there. The middle form is not so common. Just read the 4th line. The middle voice was not as common as, in biblical Greek as it was in classical. But it had by no means disappeared. It's still there. The sense of the middle is that the subject acts not on a separate object, but with reference to itself. That's basically what I was trying to. So sometimes you will get those adverbs, an adverb, which will help you to say or tell you this is middle, like adverbs like myself or himself and so forth, all those things. After that middle verb, you will get an adverb or something that will tell you more about that will give you an idea that this is a middle verb. You will see some of the sentences we are going to do together. Yeah. But then you must just know the forms. You must just worry more about lu omai, lu ei, lu etai, lu ometha, lu este, lu ontai. How do I know them? You can wake me up 12 o'clock in the night and say, please give me the present passive. I will sing it for you. I will tell you exactly. You can wake me up at 1 o'clock in the night, in the morning, and say, give me the aorist indicative active. I will just close my eye and say, okay, elusa, elusas, elusen, elusate, elusamen, elusan, and all that. I study it, I read it, I enjoy doing it, and that's why it stays in me. Okay? How do you know this is your nose? Have you ever forgotten it? Have you forgotten this is your ear? If I wake you up in the morning, then you will tell me this is an ear. How do you know it? You learn it. Yes, you learn it. And you bothered. It bothered you when you did not get it right. When you were young, you used to tell your mother, my mother, oh, this is my mouth. And they will laugh at you and say, no, it's your nose, dear, it's not your mouth. They say, how can I get this wrong? You understand? And you say, this is my eye. You say, no, it's not your eye, it's your ear. You say, now you are frustrated with yourself. Why can I get this wrong? But up to that stage where you learn it, it's my ear, it's my mouth, it's my nose, it's my eyes, you mastered it. That's what you should do with Greek. Just learn it, you will know it. If you put your passion into it, your dedication and commitment into it, there's no way you will know it. Okay? Then the present middle passive infinitive. Remember, the present infinitive, active. Something is. You will remember the present infinitive active. Can you still remember it? You still remember it? What ending does it have? The ein ending. The present indicative, the present infinitive active, the ein ending. Look at then the present middle or passive infinitive. Lu es thigh. To be loosened. Okay? I hope my African translation is okay. Los. Just help me there. Is it Ori or whoever? I'm not sure if that is correct. But then we are emphasizing the passive form. To be loosened or to be destroyed. Okay? I gave you here the sentence with the passive infinitive, didaskezthai. I said when you want to master Greek, please don't make mistakes with the endings. You must always look at the endings. We will talk about the augment also, the prefix. But then at this stage, I'm emphasizing the ending. Look at that. From the word didaskuo, you only took that omega and put an estai. You make it an infinitive passive or middle. To be taught. I wish to be taught. Ek wil onderrig word. I wish to be taught. All right? Now that is the infinitive, and please, you have to study it and know it. The passive form, just a bit of an illustration there. I am being loosened. Look at the guy sitting down. He's doing nothing. What is actually happening there? The action from this guy is happening to him. He is sitting, he is passive. Okay? But the action happens upon him. He is being loosened. Ek word losgemaak. I am being loosened. Okay? That's the essence of what it means when we talk about the passive and the active. There is your active. Your middle. No one is doing it for himself, but what is he doing? It's all about doing it for himself. He is loosening himself. I loosen for myself. Ek maak los vir myself. I'm loosening myself. That is the middle form. Okay? Any question so far? You enjoying the pictures? Okay? You enjoying the pictures? Greek, it's nice. You see, we also have pictures and it's straightforward. Let's see what comes now. Deponent verbs. I want us to go back to page 47. Deponent verbs. Okay, maybe page 49. Sorry, we will go back to page 47. Several important verbs in biblical Greek do not have active forms. Now, when we talk about forms, we talk about how the word looks, right? You remember that luo, that is the form. When you talk about luomai, also is a form. It's a passive form. When you talk about luomai, again, you talk about the middle form of a verb or a word, all right? So therefore, here we have a scenario where several verbs in biblical Greek do not have active forms. They have, obviously, what? Passive forms. And that is the dictionary form of them. That's how they appear. And instead, they have middle and passive forms, something I just said, with active meanings. The form, remember that, the form is middle and passive, but the meaning is active. Are you there? The form is active and passive, but then the form is, the meaning is active. Let me summarize that. I can see some confusion in your faces. These verbs are called deponent verbs. This is a special kind of verbs. We call them deponent verbs. Now, if I ask you a question in the exam or in the test, what is a deponent verb? And give me an example of a deponent verb. How would you define a deponent verb for me?
It always has the form of middle and has middle or passive form, but meaning is active.
Okay, simple and straightforward. What is a deponent verb? A deponent verb is a verb which is passive or middle in form, but active in meaning. Passive in form, active in meaning. You have few of those in the vocabulary list in page 47. Let's go back there. Or let me just see if they still, Deponent verbs will appear in the vocabulary list with the omai ending. Remember when we were dealing with the forms of the middle? The luomai, luei, luetai, luometha, lueste, luontai. Remember that? The first one, luomai, it had this ending. So deponent verbs will have these endings in the dictionary. All right? It's not a converted or some other kind of form. It's a deponent verb. It looks, this is a passive ending. This is a middle ending. But then the meaning of the word is active. Passive in form, active in meaning. That's what we mean by deponent verbs. Is that all? Okay, let's leave it there and go back to our vocabulary list. Can you identify some deponent verbs in that list? Apokrinomai. You can see its form is passive. What is the meaning? I answer. It's I answer. I am not being answered. It's not I am being answered. The meaning is I answer. The subject nominative performs what? An action. I am answering. It's not I am being answered. So the form is passive, but the meaning is active. Apokrinomai, I answer. The second one, ginomai, become. Dierchomai, I go through. I love these words Make no mistake in your test in the vocabulary. I will give you a list of about 5 or 6 of them. Just look at this. DRKS112, and then you also have dunamai there. You have ACER-KOMAI, you have EXER-KOMAI, you have ER-KOMAI, you have POROMAI. All of them mean the same thing. But then it's about going in and going out and going through and going around. I'm just changing they are called compound verbs. I'm just changing the prefix, actually the preposition. It's a verb plus a preposition. All those words come from the word ER-KOMAI. It means I come or I go. But then DRKS112 will means I go dia, through. Dia. Dia plus ER-KOMAI. I go through. And then ACER-KOMAI. It's a preposition ace, into, plus ER-KOMAI. It means I go in. All right? And then you have EXER-KOMAI. It's a preposition ek plus ER-KOMAI. Exit. Exit. I go out. And then ER-KOMAI, the mother word. That's why it means I come or I go. It doesn't mean one thing. But then, wherever it will mean I go out or I go in, it will be used with a proper preposition. I go out of or I go into. All right? And then you also have poromai. It will just mean I go or I walk or I travel and so forth. But then I wanted to show you what are deponent verbs. Deponent verbs, they are active in form, passive in form, active in meaning. They all have those or my ending. So there are they. I have introduced them to you. Let's talk about the personal agent very quickly. I guess this is it, yes. The personal agent with hupo. Hupo. This is a preposition also. Hupo. Many a times I told you, I gave you a sentence here. The disciple is being taught by, the teacher. Sorry. Let's just forgive me for that. Most of the time, whenever you get a passive verb, there will always be the agent, an agent. I am being loosened by my friend. That by, it's always a personal agent. It looks like, not look like, basically that is, we always say it is active. The action happens upon who? The subject. But who is performing the action? The action is performed by the agent. That's what we mean by the personal agent. Okay? And you also have the impersonal dative of means. There is an example there. Let's go to that example in page 49. That is basically what is to follow there, and then we will be done. The impersonal dative of means. There is an example in page 49. I think we still have time. We are being taught by the word of God. We are being taught by the word of God. Didaskometa toi logoi tu theu. There is your impersonal dative of means toi logoi. The means by which we are taught. We are being taught by. It's not an agent here. Okay? The word is not doing something, but someone is doing something using what? The word. The means by which we are taught. We are being taught by the word. Or the disciple, we are being taught by the disciple with the word or something like that, but then it's impersonal. It's not a person performing an action upon the subject, but someone is performing an action upon the subject by means of something, using something upon the subject. So that's what we mean by an impersonal dative of means. It's different from the personal agent. Okay? When we meet tomorrow in the class, we will do more of these examples. How do I pass? Okay, those are all the things that you have to, the time, and it's indicative, passive or middle, first person, plural, or dictionary form, meaning, and then explain. The explanation is still the same. It's a simple action in the present. But remember, it's passive. The action is now happening upon what? Upon your subject. So it does not make any big difference. We will do more of that. And then this is my favorite part of the class. Enjoy your day. We'll see each other tomorrow. And then all this is what you should work on tomorrow. I heard that you are running for other classes on campus. So I have to release you earlier. This class is up to 10 o'clock, right? We still have like 10 minutes so you can walk. I was at least planning to do a sentence with you, but then we will do that together in the class tomorrow. All you need to do me a big favor. In the Afrikaans class, please be listening. Do me a big favor. Don't come to the class having not mastered your vocabulary. It's useless to sit there and we're talking Greek to you. Please read your vocabulary, know them, so that when we do the translation and the analysis together, at least you meet me halfway. At least you know something. Not just coming to the class and sit, and then you have no idea of what is going on. So please, study your vocabulary, know all those words in page 47, and also at the back of the lesson in page 52. Orientate yourself around those words, please. And all those, the marked sentences, I really need them. I will just ask you tomorrow to take up a sentence, read, analyze, translate it, please, and do the microstructure. That's basically what we'll be doing.
So
You say? No, we are doing this together in the class. Are you writing tomorrow? What time? Is it the semester test?
Yes.
Whoa. Is that the same with the Afrikaans class? Please come and see me just after this class so that we can arrange the class tomorrow. Afrikaans class, don't just go away after this class. We must meet and talk about the arrangements tomorrow. If it's not possible for us to meet tomorrow, then we'll meet on Friday. We still have class on Friday, right? Good. But then Afrikaans class, please wait for me so we can arrange this together. So when we are done with the class, we just walk there and then we arrange tomorrow. But please, that does not suggest that you don't do this at home. Okay? Or this afternoon. Go sit down and do all this so we can at least cruise. Any question? You now know something about middle and active and passive. Deponent verbs, you know them. The impersonal dative of means, you know the personal agent. That's basically what I wanted us to achieve today. Until next week, I will meet you tomorrow. Let's just go and agree with the rest of the guys. When are we meeting? Okay? Thank you so much. KK, you want to be a Greek scholar, right? You want to be a Greek scholar, right? Stop complaining. Greek scholars don't complain. Yeah?
Being realistic.
Being realistic. Yeah. Greek is real. Thank you so much. Till next week.
You said that you were at the quarter session. You must-
No, it's fine. We achieved what, yeah.
Okay. no,
So
that's
next week we will do it better.
fine.
Because
Okay,
now
understand.
I have the program with me. I wanted to show these guys this program. You must, but for you it's not good for you. Because then you will start relying on it and forget to start again. Yeah. It's a very nice program. If you can, you know it.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a basic knowledge of Greek, then it's useless. It will still be Greek to you.